Have you ever listened to native German speakers and just wondered how they always seem to know exactly who did what to whom, even when the words are completely mixed up? I mean, in English, if you switch the order of the words from the dog bites the man to the man bites the dog, you've literally changed the entire story. But in German, no way. You can flip that sentence completely around, and everybody still perfectly understands that the dog is the one doing the biting. So how is that even possible? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to unlock the ultimate guide to demystifying German cases. By the end of this, you'll have the exact cheat code you need to understand and build these sentences all by yourself. Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We're breaking this down into 4 really straightforward sections. First, gathering the players. Second, the case system. Third, the big reveal. And finally, the playbook. Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1, gathering the players, focusing on nouns, articles, and plurals. Before we can really play the game, we need to meet the players on our field. And in German grammar, our players are the nouns. The people, the places, the things. Listen, if you take away absolutely nothing else from this first section, let it be this. You must always learn a German noun with its singular article and its plural form together. It's absolutely crucial. Don't just memorize Hund for dog. Learn der Hund, die Hunde. Don't just learn Buch. Learn das Buch, die Bücher. Now, I know German plural endings can be, a bit unpredictable. Sometimes you add an E, sometimes an ER, maybe throw an umlaut in there. But here's a fantastic piece of good news to make your life so much easier. Regardless of whether the singular word is masculine, feminine, or neuter, the definite article for every single plural noun is always die. Die Hunde, die Bücher, die Blumen. It's a lifesaver. Oh, and there's one more really crucial detail about our players. In English, you can say a dog, right? But you'd obviously never say a dog's. Well, that exact same logic applies in German. There is literally no plural form of ein or eine. If you just want to talk about dogs in general, you simply drop the article entirely. But what if you want to say there are no dogs? Well, for plural negation, we use the word keine. So to say no children are in the garden, you just say keine Kinder sind im Garten. It's simple, it's logical, and it works perfectly. That brings us to section 2, the case system. Specifically, nominative versus accusative. Honestly, just think of these cases as the grammatical jobs assigned to our players inside a sentence. Depending on the job that a noun is doing, it might have to wear a slightly different uniform, meaning its article might actually change. Today, we're just going to look at 2 of those jobs, the nominative and the accusative. So, let me ask you a question just to test your instincts here. If the word order completely changes in a German sentence, how can you possibly tell the difference between the one doing the seeing and the one being seen? Let's look at the evidence. And this brilliantly illustrates the absolute magic of the German language. Take a sentence like, der Hund sieht den Mann, and then compare it to, den Mann sieht der Hund. In both of these sentences, the dog is the one doing the looking, and the man is the one being seen. It has absolutely zero to do with which word comes first. The real secret is in those little articles in front of the nouns, der and den. Those articles are basically wearing specific team uniforms that broadcast their job in the sentence loud and clear, no matter where they happen to stand. So let's define these jobs a bit more clearly. The first job is the nominative case. This is your subject. Think of the nominative as the star player, the person or thing actively performing the action in the sentence. If you ask yourself who or what is doing this, who or was, the answer is your nominative. We also use this case for descriptions and identities, specifically after verbs like sein, to be, or werden, to become. So if you say, is Lehrer, meaning he is a teacher, well, the teacher isn't receiving an action, right? It's just describing our star player. Now, the second job is the accusative case. This is the direct object. If the nominative is the star player throwing the ball, the accusative is the player directly catching it. It is the person or thing actively receiving the action. To find it, you just ask whom or what is being acted upon, then or was. It's the direct target of whatever the subject is doing. All right, we have arrived at section 3, the big reveal. The only rule you need. German grammar definitely has a reputation for being, incredibly dense. But let's look at a shortcut that literally changes everything. Now, what's really interesting about mapping out all these definite, indefinite, and negative articles across both cases is this. Look at the incredible laziness of the feminine, neuter, and plural forms. Seriously,
From the nominative right down to the accusative, they stubbornly stay exactly the same. Die stays die. Das stays das. They don't change their uniform at all when they switch jobs from throwing the ball to catching it.
So here it is, the big secret. The only thing you actually have to worry about changing is the masculine singular. That is it. When a masculine noun goes from being the subject to receiving the action, it simply adds an N. Der becomes den, ein becomes einen, keine becomes keinen. Guys, this is the ultimate cheat code for A1 German. Isolating this single rule helps us completely master the hardest part of basic German sentence structure. Which brings us to Section 4, the playbook, the step-by-step method. Knowing the rule is great and all, but applying it on the fly when you're actually speaking or reading, that's the real goal. So let's explore a foolproof method that you can use right away. Let's move to and see how this actually builds a sentence. Here are 4 simple steps to decode or build any basic German sentence. Step 1, find the verb. Step 2, find who performs it. That's your subject, your nominative. Step 3, find who or what receives it. That's your object, the accusative. Step 4, just check the gender and the article. Okay, let's apply this method to the sentence, Der Mann kauft einen Apfel. Right. Step 1, the verb is kauft, buys. Step 2, who buys? Der Mann, the man. He's masculine, he's the subject, so he gets der. Step 3, what is he buying? An apple, Apfel. The apple is receiving the action. Step 4, Apfel is masculine, so applying our cheat code, the article ein becomes einen. Der Mann kauft einen Apfel. It literally works flawlessly every single time. Now, to help you spot the accusative out in the wild, we really should familiarize ourselves with some common accusative verbs. These are your high-frequency action verbs that basically act as triggers. If you use verbs like haben, sehen, finden, kaufen, brauchen, essen, trinken, or lesen, you are almost always going to need a direct object to receive that action. I mean, you can't just buy, you have to buy something. And that something is going to be in the accusative case. Let's look at a really concrete example using one of the most common verbs in the entire language, haben, to have. Notice exactly how our cheat code plays out here. If a brother is here, he's the subject, right? Ein Bruder ist hier. But if I have a brother, well, I am the subject and the brother is receiving the having. Because Bruder is masculine, ein changes to einen. Ich habe einen Bruder. But look at sister and child. Eine Schwester and ein Kind look exactly the same whether they are the subject just being here or the object being had. Only the masculine, Bruder, visibly changes. And just like that, you are now officially equipped to navigate the core of German sentence structure. So I want to leave you with a provocative little question to test out your new playbook right away. Look around you right now. Was kaufst du heute? What are you buying today? Are you buying a coffee, an apple, a book? Try building that sentence in your head right now using your brand new nominative and accusative skills. And remember, keep an eye out for that masculine N. If you want to keep practicing these skills and truly master this amazing language, you can visit Falowen.app, powered by Learn Language Education Academy, to learn more. Keep applying that playbook, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.